And good evening, good afternoon, good morning, everybody. Welcome on into the Dragon's Den. My name's Digital Dragon. I'm a 3D printing variety streamer here on Twitch. Welcome on in, everybody. Creatix Brit, hey there, Shaudel, Technoside, welcome on in. Welcome on in. So we've been working on our Dio Droid build. Hey, Hybrid Robotics, welcome on in. And we've made a lot of good progress. We almost had the full base done. We have all of the servos and neck mechanisms built. We still need to do the actual head and mount that on here, but that will be coming up later in the stream. I've been running around here looking. We've got a couple of more pieces of wiring to do, and I'm missing a connector. Uh, and let me rephrase that. I'm missing the correct connector. There was a green connector with some pins that went with the Cytron motor control. And I can't find them. It's not going to stop us. We can just do a standard DuPont connector. And I don't think it's going to give us too many problems, but it annoys me because I know it came with the Cytron motor control. I just can't figure out where I put it, where I placed it, where it may have slid off to. So I may down the road go and order some of those connectors. Um, they are a JST type connector, but while we're used to these JST connectors with the pegs kind of on the sides, but not fully on the sides, the connector in question would be a light green one, and um, these humps on the side of the connector are physically right on the ends or on the outside edge. Um, so yeah, it's annoying me that I can't find it. I know it's somewhere around here in this mess, but we're doing good. I did take the wheel or drive mechanism back apart so that we can see kind of where we're at and what we have left. Um, on the last stream that we were wiring DO up, I did wind up getting all of our servo connections in and then made all of the connections between the receiver and the actual board. So in this case, the first two over here are the positive and negative that feed power to the receiver, and then channels 1 and 2, and then 7, 8, 9, and 10. So everything's connected into the receiver. And the last couple of things that we need to wire up is the signals for the motor controller, which go from these 5 screw down terminals to this 5-pin connector. So these 5 screw down terminals here to this light green connector. All we need to do. And then we also need to wire up a couple of speakers, one on each side. And that's it, I believe, for the wiring. We jump over here, probably change the window. So we've got our motors connected to the Cytron motor control. We've got all 4 of our servos connected into our receiver and the receiver connected to the board. We still need to bring power from the lower board up to this board. We need to install our batteries. We need to install the switch and the 2 speakers and the motor controller. So we're pretty close to being done. Just a little more wiring, and then we should be good to go. I'm going to have to do a little reading on which sketches need to be installed on the Uno versus the Atmega versus the Arduino Nano. And I think the Arduino Nano is just the sounds, and then everything else goes on the lower sketch. So my plan here today was to just use some of this spare motor wire that I have. There's 4 different wires there, um, different colors, and then I'm going to grab a black wire for the ground, and that will make up the 5 wires to connect between the motor controller and the controller board and the 10 amp motor controller. Hey, how's it going, Daddy Wazzy? And just like before, we are going to do the um, barrels for these connectors as well. Once again, you do have the option of soldering these directly to the board if you wanted a more permanent install. I like the flexibility of being able to put things together and take them apart, replace pieces when they get broken, and doing screws is a lot easier than doing. How's it going, Daddy Wazzy? Hey, Pete Salvis, welcome on in. Um, Pete, I don't know if you noticed or not, but I did get one of your coffee mugs. Um, I used it yesterday on stream, so it needs to be washed, so it's downstairs in the sink. But I did get one of those maker coffee mugs. And I have been sporting it on stream. Thank you. Uh, Late lunch. I understand that. Definitely understand. Um, so we need to make up a little bit of wire. I'm going to need some additional wire, or may just use the black one out of this particular wire bundle. I'm just trying to reuse some of the wire that I already have available to me. So I'll mix and match some. Speaker wires, I really don't think requires much in the way of, there's a positive and a negative, yes, but I should have enough here to be able to make some positive and negative wires. I'm going to sit down as I work on this wiring here, partly so you can see me a little bit, partly so I'm a little bit closer to what I am working on, and ferrules I needed. So we're going to do ferrules and a standard DuPont connector. Um, so ferrules on the one side, standard DuPont on the other side. And like I said, I will try and find that actual other type of connector and swap that out down the road maybe. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to strip and put ferrules on these right off the bat, and then I'll figure out my wire length in a minute to get these going. And we're going to do like we did before, which is um, we'll strip and put our ferrules on, and I believe we were cutting one segment off of the end of the ferrule so that we could get the entire metal piece of the ferrule in the screw down terminal without having some extra metal that could be arcing between the wires. Hey, Pez Liz, how are you doing? Welcome on in. Welcome on in. There's 4 different colors, and we'll need a black one out of here. Use some more of this black one to do some of the speaker wire. I hope everybody's week is going well. Um, Mine's going a little bit better than last week to a degree. Um, I'll say now we're starting to get the fallout as more people are becoming aware of who was laid off last week. and what some of those impacts are when we're trying to reach out to people to get status or work issues and people are not reachable. So happy times. Having an early supper leftover frozen cauliflower pizza and clementines in a cucumber salad. Actually sounds good, Pez. Um, Cucumber pizza is not bad. Um, you know, cucumber raw. Um, Cucumber does not have, or I'm sorry, not cucumber, cauliflower. Cauliflower does not have a lot of taste. You need to spice cauliflower up to give it some taste. So it does work good for bread and bread substitutes. And for those of us that are gluten intolerant, um, that is a good substitute, especially with pizza. So bad. Yes, Dio is coming along well, Britt. We've got almost all of his wiring done. We're hoping to get the wiring done today, um, so that we can progress and get into some software stuff by Thursday and hopefully get some software done and actually see some motion because that would be really cool. And then shortly after we're done with Dio, the plan will be to work on. I think I'm going to have to work on the BattleBot or do a separate stream, pick a separate stream for the BattleBot because I need to get a BattleBot done. So Miss Dragon has some practice time. We've got those done. So about there. That side of cut, and then find our black here, figure out where we need to cut it. Then I'll just pick two different colors to do the speakers with. I said plus minus, it's going to be soldered on one end, so we just need to do that one. Now what do we got here? Use this. Yep. Grab my other screwdrivers. Now I'm going to loosen them and put them in place here. And then when I go to, well, before I put those in place, I guess I might want to put the DuPont pins on the other side. But before I put the um, this end in the DuPont connector, I'm going to have to definitely try and match them up and make sure that, pin to pin is going together. Yeah, roasted cauliflower can be good, but once again, you've got to add something to it. The cauliflower itself just doesn't have any real taste. Nutritional value, yes. Taste, it's a good clean palate for flavor. All right, have a good one, Daddy Wazzy. So is anybody else working on any cool projects? I know, Britt, you've been working on, well, other than chatting with all the cool people on your stream, you were working on or have plans to work on a uh, mini chopper, and you were building the um, iconic fab heat setter, but doing the Dremel attachment, correct? And are you building a second one or modifying your first one? What was I going? Oh no, Oop, stop skitzing out. We're gonna have ground. I am gonna put these in now, um, so that as I start to go through and put these in, that I can do them one at a time. And remember now, I have to scrunch these down a little bit more to get into the sockets. Okay, your Easter Bilby project, your cheap droid, Dremel attachment. Yes. Um, Now, once again, is that something that's kind of, I'll say, like hot swappable, where you can take it off and switch between the two, or because I haven't looked at the Dremel attachment one yet, or is it really a one or the other style build, and you just have to um, decide or build two? Kind of a lot to switch. Yeah, so you probably want to just build two if you're going to run one as a Dremel. I'm asking because I would probably put the Dremel one or build a Dremel one and possibly leave it in the garage or the shed workshop. That's probably where I would do the Dremeling more than here, here in this environment. Really? Well, that's interesting that you'd have to. um, figure out which one it'll fit into. Hmm. Special tool to slide the arm off the rail. Yeah, that would make sense. They were working on Gen 2 as well. Uh, Marascuja and Iconic Fab Team working on the Gen 2 of the Stealth Press. Um, and so the reason I was doing that is now I can put things up and kind of hopefully keep myself from knocking things over and making a mess here as I switch my tools around to use a different. Now we're going to need to do some DuPont connector. But I'm 5 pin, 5 pin, these. Uh, um, the DuPont ones too. So the way I do my DuPontes, um, I try and do the wire piece using my standard IWIS. I'll do the crimp on the bare or exposed wire, and then I'll come back with the DuPont connector to get the insulation part crimped down. Like I said, we're probably going to have, we'll do finish up Dio, and then we'll get into a BattleBot build. I need to at least get one of those built on stream for everybody's enjoyment and get Miss Dragon practicing. And then I can build the other one, which will basically be um, a secondary full, we'll say full part setup in case we destroy one in the process of getting to the show. So she'll have kind of like one to practice on and then one to run in the show. So that show will be Rocky Mountain or Murph. I'm not sure if they're going to have like a full BattleBot setup going at Rocky Mountain or not. I keep seeing that they're not advertising those things, but then they have um, they have them there. Like, you guys need to mention that thing because, hey, tripod, how's it going, John? Because especially there's a printed ant weight class, and that's what I'm building a BattleBot for is a printed ant weight class. It'll be 150 grams, and like I said, printed um, to include a printed weapon. So pavement print. Oh, Gotcha. Um, but yeah, we're gonna have a couple of battle bots ready to go. We're hopefully gonna have the uh, the death racers there as well. Probably not going to bring the dragster to Rocky Mountain just for logistics reasons. Trying to get it there with everything else in a smaller vehicle. So we'll try and get the two death racers and a couple of battle bots and a couple of printers there. And I'm wondering if they're going to have any FPV drone type stuff there as well. That I know that John, we've talked about that before of branching out into things other than just 3D printing and CNC, but some of these other things that can really benefit from 3D printing technology or other CNC type technology. More maker stuff. You got to put a louder dual exhaust on it. There you go. Okay, hybrid robotics. Give Kimmy some attention from all of us. She definitely, I mean, she's a puppy, so she definitely wants attention. I know that. Okay, so now we got to figure out the pin order when we go to install this so that we can put it in the right pin order. Okay, and that makes it easy. So I want ground to go into the um, side that's marked with the arrow, which is left side there. So that's going to get the ground pin. And then it just works um, in order right from that side. So we'll go to the next pin. And that's, I have to be careful when I plug this in because it's, you know, if I was using the correct um, housing, then of course it would be keyed correctly. But since I don't have that correct housing, I've got to be cognizant of how I plug this in so that I get the pins in the right order. And then I can take this and just kind of loop it down in the side here, tuck it in, keep things out of the way. Um, our We're also going to have our speaker. So there's one on the front and one out the back. And then we need to do our switch. We need to run our power wire from the bottom board to the top. Here to here, here to the switch, and the two speaker wires. Let's do this lower wiring just because one, I need to take this off to do it. And take it off just means kind of folding it forward out of the way. And that way, when I'm done and I put these back in, I should be able to just zip tie this shut because I'll have the batteries in and the batteries are already charged. Come forward and just basically lay down like that. So we'll come out of the controller and out of here. So out of the controller, we'll need a bit of our 18 gauge wire, which I think we have some. Or did we switch that over to 20 gauge? Nope, looks like it's our 18 gauge. Oh yeah, I like your CNC plasma. I like seeing some of those cuts being done. That was really cool. Um, I've been watching some CNC mill builds lately too, because for those of you that don't know, I do have a um, Milo on order, so we will be doing one of those in the not too distant future. And then what else do we have? Um, we've got the black box coming up as well. So our 5 tool head tool changer, which will actually be done as a 4 head to start with because I'm not sure when. So Chris said they want to develop non FDM tools for it. So I'm only going to do 4 to start with, and that'll give me an option of a non FDM tool head and save me a little bit of cost in the build. But I could always add another tool head whenever, and then once those other options become available, pop the tool head off, put a different tool head in there, and good to go after some configuration change. But I do want to say, Great Six Brit, thank you for making the comment about doing this collaboration. You kind of did the same thing I did to Westery. I made a comment about Westery printing a second shield. And she's like, all right, well, that's it. Digital Dragon mentioned it, so I got to do it now. So she printed a second shield. You kind of did that. You're like, oh, we're going to do a I think me and Digital Dragon should do a collaboration on a droid build. I was like, okay, done. You know, sounded like a good idea to me. So building droids. Okay, so it looks like this wire comes in from the front side here. Which side is positive, which is negative. Positive towards me, negative away from me. I think once again I might have to brush these down some. It's kind of a tight corner to work in. I might have to open this up just to make it easier to get these wires in. Once again, this board is not held down in any way, shape, or form. It's just sitting in there. Those two wires in there and screw this down. And that other board's going to be sitting right here, like so. Anybody been watching Nero or Steve builds doing their Milo builds? I think it would be cool to have the ability to, make some basic 3D printing parts. So you'll remember when we were working on the Ender XY build, we had an issue where the build plate wasn't lining up, and I basically had to modify, not modify, I recreated the build plate in Fusion 360 and printed the part because I had no way of cutting an aluminum part to replace the anodized aluminum part that comes in the kit. So that would be something where I would be able to prototype it with a printed part, make sure that it fit, and then go through and mill an aluminum part um, for the long-term solution. What you're seeing me do there is just trim off the last section of the crimp because uh, it shortens the length a little bit so that the um, the ferrules aren't sticking out to where they're. I mean, they're like this in the connector, but if they're sticking out any amount, there could be an arc or something could fall in there and cause an arc. And that's what I'm trying to do is prevent any type of arcing. So I'll just trim the end of that ferrule down, and then I'm having to squish it a little bit because of the way the things go on here. Probably want to put the battery in there first before I do that connect. Um, so batteries go in, and these are somewhat tight fit. They go all the way down in there, and then your cables. Need to make sure that we route these however we want to route them. Our cables will plug directly in, just like that. Same thing on the other side. We'll drop that one in, put the balance charger cable in there, plug that in. Now our battery packs are there. Whoops, we still need to add the switch. So let me go back and unplug these. So we add the switch in. Come on, tight connector. Oh, definitely tight connectors. Hey Ramon, how's it going, my friend? Maniac, welcome on in. Let's get the switch added. Close that up before I knock it over. The switches I ordered. I put the switches at. The one thing, my charger only does well, it comes with Dean's connectors. So what I did was I got some adapters here. So they take the so it's a female Dean's and a male XT60. So these would plug directly into here, and then I could clip in my Dean's directly to my charger, and I can charge these up. So I did pick up some of these. Toss one down on the ground. And then I also got some 2-pole switches. It should work fine for this application and future applications. Standard 2-pole switches that already come with some wire lead on it. So saves me a little bit of time there. Where this does fit down in my slot, and yes, it will. It will line up. So I guess it doesn't really matter which. Trying to figure out how far away to cut this so that I can get the wires in there. The tripod, did I hear or see that you said that you will probably not be doing all 3 rep rap shows in the future? This might be the last year that you do them all 3? Do you guys like these projects, or do you like the printer builds better? Which ones do you guys like better? Or do you like having the mixture to kind of break up the monotony of just doing machine builds? Yeah, you like the mix? Yeah. Yeah, both are interesting in their own right. Yeah, I'm probably not going to be doing like full on cosplay stuff on the stream, but I may show some of the stuff that I've printed and the Mandalorian outfit, but I'm not going to be sitting here like painting on stream and stuff like that, I don't think. Partly because I'm afraid of what my painting skills will look like, especially with people like Creatix Brit on here. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so going to Rocky Mountain this time is, um, it's good for me because I have family at Rocky Mountain and at Murph. Um, but it may come down to having to drop one off the list for me just to try and get to everything. Um, or not get to everything, but just, like I said, time off from work and stuff like that. Um, but we'll see. I'd really like to get to all three every year, but we'll have to see how that plays out over time. Okay, now this can down in the gap there, pushed in, one of the two, combination of both. Zero would be off, O would be off. Um, let's see, we've got the motor controller in. The only thing we have left to wire up would be speakers. So we go ahead and plug these back in. This will come up. Like I said, there's a bunch of zip tie hold down points that will just hold this top piece to the bottom piece. And that is what will lock it in. And then we'll just kind of stuff uh, the RC piece in there. This is our power cable. It needs to snake over here. So let me feed that out and around. Starting to get a little tight, a little fiddly now that we're getting everything in here. There we go. Power, power, power. Really like no simple and easy way for these wires to go. Let's do some zip ties to hold that in place. Two. Ah, okay. A little bit of tight and fiddliness, but we can get it. Cheese trail. Huh? As noted, cut the tails of the zip tie, not the wires. Cut the wires, you may have a sad day. Those in the back, front. Okay. This will hold the top plate to the bottom plate. Hey, Stephen Poole, welcome on in. You got your Super Mini today. Awesome. Hey, Aaron, welcome in. Thank you for the resubscribe with your Prime subscription for 5 months. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So we got our switch in place. We've got our um, power in and connected. We need to bring this wire around and connect it. But before I do that, I want to go ahead and get my speaker wires ready. So let's get some of this extra wire out of here. Toss it down there. And our speakers, I think, are, uh, they may just be plain. So we might have to do some soldering before we can even get those connected. So let me clear up this stuff real fast. Because like I said, nothing will let you have a bad day other than, when you knock a thing full of connectors over and you get to play, like 500 pickup on different size, different colored connectors. Because you always find them later on when you step on them. Johnny Chrome bumpers have a 10-foot rule on them. Tripod's made sure. Okay. Nothing gets within 10 feet of the shiny bumpers, huh? So the speakers that we're going to use here, the pop this open, which I thought I'd already done once before. Oh, pretty simple. These are 8 ohm, 2-watt speakers. As you see, they're very, very small and have some really fine wires on them that are not long at all. So I will most likely desolder these and solder longer leads to them. Um, and these will go from screw down terminals right here. One will come over here to the front. The other one will come down from this screw down terminal and come down over here. We do have a path to make those wire runs. We just need to figure out about how long those wire runs will be. And then we can make our length of cable as necessary. Now my plan will be to use the red and black cable that I have left over from, provided this black cable's long enough to do it. Might be long enough to do one, but probably, no, I might be able to do both. So I'm just going to depin it, cut the end off, and cut it in half. Hopefully, just be able to cut it in half so that it'll work for one, and then not for the other one. I'll have to get it. Yeah, that should work. So there will be my two black wires. Got a lone red wire here, so I just need to play that out. Hey, Aaron, how's it going, my friend? Welcome on in. Welcome on in. Have you been streaming, Aaron? Because I haven't been getting any notifications. Oh, things look good from 10 feet away. Yeah. Yep. I understand that one too. You have not? Okay. That makes sense then. Because I've been looking, I was like, I haven't seen you streaming in a while. Rebuilding your 300 Trident? Okay. So Mrs. Dragon will be leaving next week. Yeah, she's leaving next week. Going to Colorado to be with her mom because her mom's going to have her other shoulder surgery. And when she does that, the salad fork and the micron are going to go on the kitchen table, and they're going to start printing something nonstop just to kind of get more hours on them before we take them to the show with us. And because they're going to go to Rocky Mountain, and so the salad fork. This is how bad things are getting around here. Salad fork sitting right down there. Whoops. The Trident 350 got moved over here um, just to get it off the table so I could work on the Dio today. Micron sitting over there in the corner. I just don't have enough room to put things up yet, and I need to start going through cleaning and rejiggering everything again. Yeah, this Saturday, the Trident 350 should be uh, firmware flashed, configured, and printing Saturday, and then we'll start working on the Enraged Rabbit carrot feeder and cottontail for it afterwards. So yeah, that's going to be going for a little bit longer, and then we'll have um, a black box build here shortly. That'll be fun. Gonna get this prepped and ready so that we can do a little bit of soldering here. Like I said, I'm going to desolder um, the existing wire off of these and solder new wire on. And then the other side will be um, the other side will get whatchamacallit. Uh, the other side will get ferrules and plugged into the jacks. So I'm just going to get these ready so I'm not trying to strip wire and yanking on delicate uh, solder joints. Hey, Kit Skyfire, how's it going? Welcome in. Yeah, that's what I did before was did maker coins on all the stuff that I took to um, Earth, which is now, of course, 3D Printopia. But yeah, I'll print some maker coins on them and a few other things. Who knows? Maybe I heard somebody has some cars that are going to be printable for Toys for Tots this coming year. Maybe I start running some of those out as well. Especially if he can tell us which of his cars have been approved for TOTS. Yeah, please soon, TFT. Give me something to chain print on all of my printers. Okay, so these are good. I'm going to go ahead and grab the soldering stuff so I can desolder the existing wires and solder on these. Probably won't use that. And sorry, I'm going to be over here and away from the camera for a bit, but at some point, I guess I can try and see if this one will work. Giving me troubles earlier, not wanting to show itself. See, see if this one. Hey, it is working. So we'll use this and show this. But give me 1 second. I need to blow my nose. Okay, back. Um, this should be heated up now. So a little bit of on there to make things go a little bit easier. And once again, we're just going to desolder the existing wire. Need to put new wire on there. So these. A little bit and okay, that end's good. I will, you'll notice that I removed a decent amount on one side, barely anything on the other side, as far as the insulation goes. Don't want a lot removed on the side that I'm going to solder to the speaker. Any bit. It, there's one done. And then on the other side. That's true. You can do like you say you can't print stickers, but you can basically do a small Hue Forge print and add adhesive to the back of it. And yeah, stickers are greater than maker coins. I do have plenty of stickers from last year still. Probably will not make it through both or all three shows this year, but it'll get me at least through Rocky Mountain, I hope, between maker coins and stickers. So all right, there we go. Go ahead and undo that. Go put this stuff over here so it's out of the way. Because what happens if I leave hot things next to the work table? I burn myself. I know myself too well. Got our speakers. We try and keep this in place. And what we're going to do our barrels. Take these four little tiny, I don't know why we'd even put wire that small on anything, much less a speaker. By small, I mean like lengthwise. It's not that long at all. Um, yeah, let's go ahead and put ferrules on these. We put ferrules on everything else. Might as well do ferrules on these too. Same thing as before, we will crimp, cut them down, and then squeeze them so that we know we can get them in our screw down terminals. Hey, Acetacraft, how's it going? Long time no see, my friend. Long time no see. Um, we're doing good. We are working over here on our Droid build. Got you thinking about the Hue Forge and some adhesive, huh, Acetacraft? Told you this is the year of multi-material. At least on my channel, it's going to be the year of multi-material. So we've got the Enraged Rabbit Carrot Feeder version 2, along with the Cottontail that's going on the Trident 350. We've already added the Filametrix, which is the tool head cutting mechanism or filament cutting mechanism on the tool head. And when we did that, we also added tool head sensors. So we've got dual tool head sensors on it, meaning we've got a tool head sensor above the gear as well as below the gear, between the gears and the hot end. So that's set up. And then um what else? We've got the Enraged Rabbit Carrot Feeder 8 cart with the Cottontail all printed out, ready to start building. Oh, hey, Ferret Boss, just want to let you know your hot end showed up. There we go. That's two out of three right now that have confirmed that they got their item from the birthday stream. So that's great. Who was the third? The third that got something from the stream. I cannot remember. It might have been Tech Jeeper that was the third one. Nope. I just realized I haven't cut these or squished them yet. Um, but we'll be doing the Enraged Rabbit Carrot Feeder on the Trident 350. I've got another ERCFA upgrade kit. So if we like the ERCFA on the 350, I can build another one to put on one of my other Borons. Um, I've also got the trad rack that we're going to reprint the latest parts for and rebuild the trad rack. Sorry. And after that, we will, um, oh, we've got the Prusa or the MMU3 for the Prusa Mark IV on order. I haven't seen a ship on that yet, but that should be coming as well. We'll get that in the mix. We'll have three different types of MMU setups. The trad rack and the ERCFA, of course, will be um, flipper based, where the Prusa will be Marlin based and running through Prusa Slicer. The other two will be running through Orca. Darn it, where's mine? I'm a little bit of a pain to get in there. All right, I was trying to do this on screen, but get the flat oriented right to slip in there. Might have to take the barrels off. And, oh, there we go. There we go. Finally. Angle. And we can put this in or secure this on with like VHB tape or epoxy. And epoxy would be the more um, permanent of those two options. Those get locked in there, and your speaker is going to come down and just go right in there. So once again, I'm gonna just use VHB tape. I think that's perfectly fine for this application. It's not going to be, I'm not going to go through and use um, epoxy on something that really doesn't need it. These things are really lightweight. Yeah. The physical outside dimensions of a Voron V02. It should say um on the page, but I've got it at with panels probably 235. 235 by 235 by say 460-ish. And that's with not having the spool on the back. If you're gonna hang the spool on the back, you'd have the width of your spool as well. Um, it's pretty small. Like I said, I'm just gonna get these in, and then we will mount them with some VHB tape on the back. That way it becomes modular and we can take it out if we need to do maintenance or replace the speakers if we happen to blow the speakers or something down the road. I also need to plug in on main power now that those are in place. Okay, so everything is technically plugged up. Let's do a little bit of VHB tape to get the speakers put in place. You don't need big chunks of this, just small pieces. Small pieces and the ability to get the backing tape. You hear those dimensions I called out, Acetacraft? Hey, Maker Viking, how's it going? I have like a love-hate relationship with PHP. I love it because it's very convenient, but I hate it because it's a pain in my tuchus. You gotta be very careful with these speakers and just kind of press around the rim so that you don't damage the speakers when you're putting them in. Apologize if you're trying to chat with me right now. I am trying to focus on peeling this tape backer off and not slicing myself. As soon as I get this off, I will try and catch up on chat. So this is kind of my love-hate relationship with VHB. Love it, but it's annoying. I'm doing good, sir. Okay, so the basics of our Dio build pretty much done at the moment. We've got everything put together. We'll do some wire management, wire corralling as we put things back together. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this guy. I may take the antennas and just zip tie it to the chassis here and figure out some way of mounting it. I don't know. There's no real good place to shove this. I think somebody had said to shove it down there, but it's not going down there easily. But yeah, I think if I kind of zip tie this stuff together, then I can just kind of set it in there and it'll sit there decently enough. Let's see where we're at instruction manual wise. We go back, whoops, we switch cameras back. Yes. So we've got Dio put together, we've got Dio wired. I need to do a little bit of research on how to put the sketches on here and which sketches go on what component. Because there is a sketch that goes on the base Arduino, which is the App Mega, and a different sketch that goes up on the Nano. We'll have to do those two sketches, and then we should be able to like check its motion on its drive wheels and stuff. So I think that's it for the wiring. Yeah, we'll take a look at this overview video. back up. Next part is basically just closing things up and putting the panels or getting these panels ready. Epoxy in the magnet. We'll attach magnets to the frame and side panels. You use 4 magnets that are 5 millimeter by 5 millimeter cylinders and 4 that are 10 millimeter by 2.5 millimeter thick. Where was my magnet? I think I've got the 10 by 2.5. The other magnet, I think, other magnet reached out in time just recently. Once again, we've got our accent pieces, and the accent pieces do have, not sure if we, yeah, so it does have damage to them. So we need to do a little bit of sanding on these pieces and then paint them the green. We'll do a little bit of sanding on these, paint these green. Same thing on these pieces. There is damage on these pieces that were printed out. So we need to do a little bit of sanding to get rid of some of the layer lines and then do the painting on these. And then on the backs, we'll add these will be the larger magnets, the M2 by 5 magnets. And then these pieces will kind of fit in on the edges once they're painted. Okay. So they should line up with the damage that's being shown here. To give you an idea. This one is, whoop, this one's the easiest one because there's a correct cutout for it. Um, should only go in and fit one way. They'll kind of look like that, and they'll go on the end pieces here. We've got some thick magnets that we need to put in. Now I need, oh, I knew I'd seen them. These should be our M5 by 5, and these insert the magnets in the frame. Your M5 by 5s will go in the frame. Go okay, highlight. So there's spots here and here where it'll go in the frame. Those will be your M5 by 5s. For some reason, they like epoxy here, so they've been telling us to do everything with epoxy versus what we normally do, which would be uh, super glue. But these are fairly loose too, so we're going to have to epoxy these in. So we'll mix up a little batch of epoxy when we'll have to epoxy these in. And then we'll put the M10s on the other side. I need to verify my M10s. that I have are the 2.5 or 2 millimeter. I've got M10 by 2 and M10 by um, 3s. Table full of magnets. And check these real fast to see what size they are. Oh, nice. These are 2.5. So I do have the 2.5 is what they're calling for. So the 2.5 will go on our white pieces here, and then um, the M5s will go in the chassis. So we'll need to mix up a little bit of our epoxy. The up here, up a little epoxy. Hey, Shaudel, how's it going? You were here earlier. Glad to see you pop back in. I've been using these little stir sticks, just cutting them down some so that they're easier to work with. Got to mix this up for 20 seconds. Make sure that we mix it nice and good. It in the hole, slather it around. I'm only going to put 4 of these in. So we should be good to go as far as pushing these all in. They're all going to go in the same orientation. We can validate that we're going in the same orientation with them. That way, with the ones that are one of the ones that's left, we can do the M10s on the bigger piece. Plenty of epoxy in the cavity. So we stuck them in this way. So this is going to be the side that's facing out. So all we need to do is figure out which side is attracted. So that means this is the side that needs to go down on this side. So take our epoxy and get some epoxy in these holes. Probably should have validated that these fit before I did that, but these are relatively loose, so we are going to have to put them in there and then make sure that they don't pull out while they sit and dry. And just like any glue up, if for whatever reason it doesn't seem to stay or stick, then we'll just come back in and do it again. Chances of large portions of it not sticking are probably slim to none. So either going to stick or it's not going to stick. Gloves on for this, but do as I say, not as I do. Using isopropyl alcohol to wash your hands or clean your hands off after epoxy, probably not a good idea. Or that would be frowned upon by some people. Definitely don't smoke afterward. Hey, Nick, how's it going? We're going to let this stuff dry. We have to let these dry, otherwise they'll just pop right out. So we need to let these dry. And it's 5 minutes. It's a quick setting epoxy, so 5 minutes to set, to begin to set. 24 hours for a full cure. So we're really going to want to let these sit for a while. Let them dry fully. Um, good there. Here it talks about mounting our wheels. Um, yes, we've got two more mounting points on each side for our nuts. So we'll have to add some more nuts, and it'll be 5 and 5. Um, not we should be good. It looks like we'll clear these, so we won't stand a chance of gluing those together. Where are my three nuts here. Go ahead and start putting the sides in, I think. I think we'll stand a chance of gluing the rims together. Actually, the more I think about it is no, I don't want to do that. I need to get the software on this before I do anything else as far as assembly of this lower half, because otherwise I'm just myself. So I think, 'cause it doesn't talk about um it doesn't talk about any of the Arduino stuff in the manual here. I think we may be at a somewhat stopping point because I don't want to mount the side panels and all of that. Just sorry, I know I'm kind of scrolling around. I'm just trying to see. This is what. All right, so he used the number 4 half-inch bolt or screw to mount the knot arm. So this round piece right here goes at the bottom, and then that bolt goes at the top of the knot arm. So I'm going to have to get my hands on one of the local stores. Number 4 hat. We'll have to go to Lowe's tomorrow to get one of those so we can finish this up on stream. Is there? I thought Polymaker shipped worldwide. Is it just a lack of colors in the EU and stuff? Hey Timur, how's it going? Royal Nomi, how are you feeling? Are you healing up a little bit more each day? You feeling better? I'm sorry, I'm just trying to look forward and see what we've got going on here. Let me see what I have here as far as nod arm goes. So we've got the upper bolt, which they had, it looks almost silver there. So either they spray painted it or they did the, um, oh, what is that? um, that you dry rub on there. Can't remember. So that'll be used at the top. That's your printed screw for the top. The bottom is this piece, and it needs to move freely. So you drill out the nod arm lever so the screw passes through the hole. The We want to drill this out so the screw goes through it. We want the screw to actually go into this and I don't think I have a number 4 half-inch. I may have it. I don't know. I'd have to check, and looking for it, not going to work during this stream unless it's right here. 8, 8, number 8, 8. Yep. I may have a number 4 half-inch screw. It's not. It's not up here. It would be down in the shed. Have to look at off stream. Really can't put the nod arm together and add it to the box. So you kind of see how it joins in there. So the bolt goes up at the top to hold the nod arm in. Nod arm comes down. There's the white piece. So looks like I may actually have to reprint these as white or spray paint them white, one of those two. Anyhow, get that added to the head box, and the head box would catch on. Yeah, I think now it's just a matter of needing to do a little bit of painting, possibly reprinting a couple of parts or painting a couple of parts so that they'll match, right? Um, and checking on one or two other pieces. But before I get too far here, I kind of do want to do the two sketches. So I think we're going to have to call the droid build portion of the stream good for the night. Just because I'm kind of stuck. I need to let this stuff dry and I need to paint. And I think, let me double check here real fast. Hmm. Thursday is possibly doable for some light painting. So I might be able to do some painting tomorrow and Thursday to get some of these going, but these can always be added on later. That's no big deal. Um, these need to dry though before we get them installed finally. I want these to dry some before I start putting anything else on there, and we need to get the boards updated or flashed, firmware, what have you, uploaded. The sketches need to be uploaded. Oh, Europe sales a third party. Gotcha, gotcha. Um, so like the helmet's back here. I need to. These are three separate pieces to that helmet. They haven't been uh looped together yet. I need to, yeah, finish working on some of those helmets and get those done as well. I need to add the hosing and like I said, accent pieces and stuff like that. So yeah, that's some other stuff I need to do is finish working on some helmets. So trophy I took from the last battle, yeah, could be. Hey, you may see some of these helmets in the future too. There may be a couple of these helmets because I took this helmet with me to 3D Printopia, and I actually had it sitting down on the Zero G Mercury down at KB3D's booth, and people were loving this. This is not painted. This is all just 3D print. So this is Xyltech Cobalt Blue. This is the little stud inserts here, and the rings are Silk Chrome by Polymaker. The main helmet, this is a bronze PLA from Polymaker. And then the tubing is actual like tubing that I got off Amazon. It's just press fit in because these ends are so tight, it just press fits in and stays there. Fully wearable. Probably do good to have some padding put in place, and I still need to cut lenses for it. But yeah, get a couple of my helmets going. Yeah, it was purchased black tubing. Um, yeah, let me oops, we just kind of come back to this scene for now. Yeah, so like I said, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm at a stopping point. I need to go find a number 4 half-inch screw, which I may actually have out in the shed. I need to get some other parts ready, whether it's reprint some things like this that are actually supposed to be white that I printed in black, but I think I'll have to double check whether these are white or black. Um, I do have some rub and buff. That's what I was thinking. I do have some rub and buff that I can rub and buff some of these parts and see how I like that look. If I can like just straight up rub and buff this part and I like the look, then I'll go with that. If not, I will spray paint these and then rub and buff them. I just got to figure out how what look I like better. I do need to spray paint these rims, so I'll take off the outer rim here and I will spray paint that because this tread track here needs to be green. That's the actual drive wheel. So I do have the green for that. So I will take these apart, spray paint that piece. Um, and yeah, and I think I can take this outer edge piece here because it's got these bearings on it, but I think I can take that off without replacing the Lazy Susan balls, right? So we can run that and not have to take the Lazy Susans themselves apart. So that could be a easy enough thing to do. Take that off, spray paint these, and get them mounted back on there. So I can try and do that between the streams. Um, yeah, and I think that's kind of where we're at. I need to do a little bit of research out on the Discord about getting these sketches done. Now, my question for you guys is going to be, do you want me to go through the process of uploading the sketches on stream or not? Because I can probably do it. I just need to know if you guys want me to do that um, during the stream or if you want me just to upload the sketches off stream while I could literally be waiting for paint to dry. Yeah, and like I said, that tubing, it's just a standard tubing. It's uh, yeah, I would have to get the link, but it was a suggested link off of Amazon. I was hoping that that would say something, but it's a QR code and Chinese. So, but it's just standard tubing. I get the size off of uh, off of my Amazon purchases. I'll find that and I can send that or post that up on the Discord. Hey, Shenanigans, how's it going? Yeah, okay. What I can do is I'll look at the process, figure out what the process is, because like I said, there should be two sketches. One that goes on the at Mega 2560, which is the main board, and then one that will go on the Nano. And the Nano that sits on the top shield is just driving the sound in the speakers. That's all it's controlling. So, those shenanigans. We'll flip over here. The build's going good. We have all of the wiring done. We've got our speakers installed. So we have a speaker on each side. We've got all of our wiring done to the top shield and to our receiver. I'm going to kind of just fold these back and zip tie the antennas across the top of the receiver so it can sit here and stay out of the way of the wheels, basically. But this should be able to basically just sit right there without any problem. Um, but as far as all the connections go, we've got our switch put in place now to the batteries. The batteries are charged and in. We've got the direct voltage from the batteries going to the motor controller on the bottom deck here. And then we've got power that comes around here to the top. This power feeds power to the Arduino at Mega 2560 at the bottom, so we don't need to provide power there. It is fused on a 10 amp fuse, and we've got a buck converter here that's providing the breakout to 5 volt and 3.3 volt to run all the boards on here. We've got our, this shield has the breakout to the kind of like the gyroscope, the motion sensor here. We've got the Nano. The Nano feeds to the sound system. We will have our sound files here on a drive or on a TF card. And then the motion controller or the motor controller goes down here to speak to the motor controller to tell the motors when to drive. Um, in essence, this gyroscope here is self-balancing. Yes, it's a self-balancing droid. This is Dio. So this is the unicycle droid. So these will be the lazy Susans that will mount on either side of the main wheel. The black strips that you see here need to be painted green, but those are the actual contact surfaces. I don't know if you can tell, but it's the only thing that sticks up. So this wheel is just underneath these black surfaces. So the black surfaces here, once again, will be painted green to be color matched to the Droid color scheme. And the white parts, I might just leave them as they are printed. However, I do know like the head box here. So the head box will be connected. We've got our 6-pin wire here. We'll make the connection, shove it inside, and this will be mounted right to the side here. And then the head will be able to rock forward and back as it moves. And then it will also be able to twist, and nod. So that's all of our motions. So we have a few more things to do to it, but I'm kind of at a stopping point naturally right now because I need to go find a number 4 half-inch screw, which I'm pretty sure I have out in my shed. If not, it's a run to Lowe's tomorrow. Either way, I will have it tomorrow. And then it's basically like some final assembly. Now there is a cradle that will let me set this in a cradle so that we can test the movement of the, test it basically, bench test it. I need to print that out as well. So I will get that uh, sliced up and ready to print. But we have everything wired up now, and we just need to upload the sketches, and we're ready to start testing the motions. Where would you put the RGBs? Believe it or not, the head, and we still need to assemble like the head, but that will be kind of the afterthought. Um, I think there are black inserts that I did not slice that we can glue in place here. If not, we can definitely mask out and just paint this black. But this is a base mode print, right? You want this to be very light because this sits at the top of the head box here, and so it's cantilevered all the way up. So it needs to be really light, or you have to swap out the servos for heavier grade servos. And you can see there's some spots um, where it didn't print out nicely. Um, and the one of the things I'm looking at is I don't know why they printed they had you print these out as two separate things. I would much rather have seen this all as one piece and just have a printed piece that would fit down, that would basically go down and snug up, that becomes the shield that you can spray paint the top green. The only reason is this needs to be green, the rest of this is white. So that's why it's a two piece, and it would be really better if it was just one piece with a printed shield that would just fit down and go, okay, there you go, spray paint the top. You know what I mean? Um, yeah, you're getting ready for Halloween early. The other thing is just trying to get this lined up so that it's perfectly horizontal to the eyes, or perpendicular to the eyes, would be a pain in the butt too. But I can get this stuff printed out or printed and get this stuff painted. Um, I may try and reprinting one of these just to see if I can get this better. If not, my plan or my thought process was use UV resin to paint this over. Maybe add some tape to the back, UV resin, paint over it. Use UV light to cure it. Take the tape off. Tape on the outside if I need to. UV resin on the inside. Cure it. Um, and then that should hold this together nicely and be a good repair. It's on the underside, so you're not going to see it anyhow. So, but I will say that this is a finicky print, and they have you print it like this, um, because you've got your. If you print it like this, you don't have to do any supports. If you print it this way, you would have to do some type of support on that front piece because it comes down to a point. Um, but yeah, it is what it is. And there's a few things that we have to do to put this on, but it's one of those things that once we start to put that on, um, it becomes infinitely more painful to do all of this. So I want to get this working and make sure this stuff works first before I start putting additional weight and stuff on there. Because you will have like this back plate that will go on in there, and you'll have your three prongs that come off the back. So there'll be a little bit more work to do on this, but I want to get it working first before I start adding the head pieces on. But the droid itself, mechanically right now, is pretty much done other than adding the head. And I mean, mechanically, the servos are all in place. The servos are all wired up. We just need to get the sketches on here so we can actually start testing um, the motion and everything. Yeah. So I'm kind of at a sticking point right now. Um, on the Trident, we did put the tool head on Monday night. We did do a lot of the under the deck wiring Monday night. There's a couple of things left that I'm gonna I need to solder some extensions for the bed thermistor and crimp the connectors to do the bed thermistor. I need to run a ground cable to the bed. I have to fabricate my own ground cable because the ones in the kit weren't long enough. Um, yeah, and I'm going to do those couple of things off stream. And then Saturday on the Trident build, we'll be doing um, all the software configurations. So firmware, software config, pushing plastic for the first time. I want to push plastic with the tool head. So we'll do PLA, and then we'll set the printer itself aside, and we'll start building the Enraged Rabbit carrot feeder before I go and close everything. Simply because the Enraged Rabbit carrot feeder is going to get mounted to the top. I may have to drill a hole based on how I decide to mount things um, in the top plate and run the bone tube through the top versus the back like we normally do. Um, Anything else? I think we're pretty good on that build then. So when we come back Thursday, we will do the sketches. I'm going to do some research, make sure that I can do the sketches, make sure I can get those uploaded. So we'll be ready to do that next stream. I'll make sure I have the right cables and extensions to what we need make sure I have the right USB cables to do the actual plugins and run, drop the extension or drop the sketches to the Arduino, and then we can test out movement, and then we'll start doing some final assembly of the main droid parts, and yeah, we can do some testing. Hopefully, we can get. I know I've seen some. I was looking at the forums, and some people are having issues with the speakers. I'm not sure if they were using the board or if it could have been wiring or an issue on their end. So hopefully everything works just fine. Um, Nice landing, Britt. And we'll have a semi-functional working droid that we can have completed here shortly. And then we can start working on the mini chopper. Now, Britt, when are you going to be ready to start working on Cheap, or have you already started working? So I don't have a dog built over bot, but I want to get him moving around. And of course, I'm not sure that I want to try and move him around on this table. But I do have a big living room floor that's laminate floor, like not laminated wood floors that I can run him around on. But he has a little bit of issues with carpet from what I've seen, so hard surfaces are better for these. There is an option of doing a TPU drive ring, um, and it's not the this full outer piece. It's just like rubber bands that you would put on the drive rings on here. Um, but I did not do that, and that would give you better surface options. But this is going to be really a hard surface droid. You have to order his inside. Okay, that's fine, Britt. No rush, because I'm thinking I need to make final decisions on the body that I'm going to do, whether I'm going to do the articulating arm or not. And I want to try and at least spray paint the body, filler primer, sand, and get a base coat on the body. Because I have either the black body or this is printed in white and you can see a lot of the layer lines on. But if I use this one, I definitely need to prime and paint, but this grill up here will get cut out. It was printed as support and it's pretty hefty, so I'd have to cut this out, and this would be the pocket where the front arm or the top arm would be able to just servo out, right? Um, but I just need to figure out which one I'm going to do, and trying to print this out. Um, there's going to be a lot of work. Let me switch camera. So there's a lot of work on this to sand down and clean up the where the supports were. I'm not sure. Maybe trying to print this in resin would be a lot better. Give me a lot better surface finish. Um, but one way or the other, I need to get this cleaned up and see about using this, or if I'm going to have to try and reprint it. I'll probably just take my time and sand this down, though. I guess I got to get used to doing that, huh? Sanding down, working with parts, and then, but this arm will mount in here, and it's got the servo arm, so it basically will just be able to rotate out back in. So this is an option. So this piece would mount where that grill is. This arm would sit in here, though it's not going to because I have to clean out some swarf. But it would sit in here and then just articulate. So I've got all the parts saved. I've got two body parts basically, but either way, I'm going to have to paint them. And I figured what we might be able to do, Britt, is actually do the builds. Like I would build mine and you would build yours, or we can kind of do like what um, Steve and Modbot did, where we get on and we stream at the same time, or like you could join me on my stream, I can join you on your stream, or something. Either way, we can figure that out. But I think more of a collaboration when we actually do those builds might be kind of cool. But yeah, I think that's kind of where we're at for this evening. So, kind of a recap. This build's going good. We need to do the sketches next stream. I need to find a bolt, and then we can get the head done, and at least the head box and neck and stuff mounted, right? So we'll have this on, and everything but the actual head would be installed, and we can verify that our sketches are working as appropriate. Um, Saturday we'll get The Trident build should be pushing plastic by Saturday, by the end of the stream, which means we'll go into the Enraged Rabbit carrot feeder build after that. Once we're done with the Dio build on the weekday streams, we're going to put together our um, battle bots, our ant weight battle bots, so that Mrs. Dragon can practice. Um, oof, let me think through that. Trying to think. He leaves next week, Colorado. Yeah, we'll have to get those built, and then we'll take some time. And things are starting to warm up here, so we'll do some painting on the. Um, we'll do a little bit of painting here and there on Dio to start getting his panels ready, and we'll do some painting on Chopper to get him, I'll say base coated started. Um, and then we'll try and do some build together there with Britt. So the copper build, I may do some painting off stream while Britt's getting some of her electronics and insides. And like I said, no rush there. We'll just build them because the Dio was I wanted to do Dio one way or the other. But the chopper and the cheap build are going to be for presentation at 3D Printopia this year. So that was our plan because that's the show that we both are definitely going to. So it'll be at 3D Printopia. And Dio, we're just going to have fun. Oh, not a problem, Mr. Wizik. Thank you. Um, okay, are you taking off shenanigans? Looks like Shadell, everybody's bouncing out. Um, who do we want to look at for a raid this? You see who on options. See who we got. Like the Jang's on. Way Cool Woods doing some stuff. Even pulls away from keyboard and just printing. Chris Brillo is on. You're still here lurking? Okay, shenanigans. Yeah, I'm going to try and do, I'll say some more 3D printing adjacent stuff. We need to get Dio going. I think I've got the necessary controller to get the Ivan Miranda mini tank. Like all we needed was the UBEC, and for whatever reason, I was waiting on Evil Diesel to do it, but I think I have a UBEC or an SBEC that I can use now, so I'll grab that. I need to get the controller from him, or actually, I have a controller over here for it. So we can get that going. So we're going to do some of these electronic projects, some side type projects that are more 3D printing adjacent, where we're using 3D printing to do some other cool things. So I think that's going good. We're going to get into, as I mentioned, we're going to do a Enraged Rabbit carrot feeder build. We're going to reprint and rebuild the trad rack that will go on the K3 over here. So we'll have multicolor option on the trad rack. We've got an MMU3 on order for the Mark IV. So we'll build the MMU3 and get that going on the Mark IV. We'll have 3 different options for multi-material unit. We have a um, um, black box that should be shipping out here this week, according to KB3D Chris. Yep, he was using mine to evaluate different ways of doing the packaging of the kits. So mine may be one of the last in the batch to get shipped out as he's evaluating how to box things up in the most optimal way for shipping. And then we'll get that. We'll start that build. Well, that's going to be the cool big build. That won't be done in time for Rocky Mountain. Even if it was, it's not going to Rocky Mountain because the way we're having to transport stuff to Rocky Mountain this year. But it will be the premier build going to Midwest Rep Rap Festival this summer. So we're going to be doing multi-material with the multi-material tool changer via black box, and we're going to have multi-color capable printers on stream as well. Doing Rage Rabbit Carrot Feeder, Trad Rack, both of those using Clipper, and then the MMU for the Mark IV, which of course will be using the Marlin working that way. So it's going to be pretty cool that we'll see some various options. Lots of people out there already using things like the AMS. We may also at some point look at a chameleon from 3D Chameleon. I don't know. We'll see. So yeah, definitely for those of you jumping out, take care. I'm seeing who's on right now that we could possibly jump into. See. Um, see. Looks like the Jang is doing some Gundam, Gunpla play. Not sure how they pronounce that, but he's doing some Gundam builds. Um, let's jump over and check him out because we haven't gone over there in quite a while. I know it's early for Britt, so I'm not going to be like, "Hey, Britt, can you jump on an hour early?" Because she's got kiddos and things. Britt, take care of family and kiddos, and we'll see you a little bit later this evening. Um, but yeah, I'm just at kind of a natural stopping point process. I don't want to go and try and find cables. I really, really, really want to make sure that I understand the the sketch firmware process and make sure I'm putting the right sketch on the right boards so we don't cause any problems with it. It'd really suck to blow. So with that, I'm going to leave everything on the bench. I'll do some research over the next day and stuff, and we will see you guys on Thursday. Let me get this raid started going over to um, the Jang. And thank you, everybody, for being here. We'll do a little bit more later or on Thursday, and we will see you guys later on. Have a good one, everybody. See you later.